guys, today's video we're going to be talking about some of my favorite bait casting reels to throw when it's super windy like this. Alrighty guys, I've been wanting to do this video for quite a while. When it gets extremely windy, it can be very hard to fish. And in the fall time and in the springtime, we are no strangers here in Texas to very high winds like right now. It is currently blowing around 25 to 30 with 40-mile-per-hour gusts. And typically I'm not fishing in 40-mile-per-hour winds, but trust me, even a decent headwind of like 15 miles per hour is very difficult to throw certain types of lures, especially if your fish are very finicky and don't want to bite some bigger lures, heavier lures, and you just have to deal with it. So I've got some of my favorite reels here that perform extremely well casting directly into the wind and a crosswind. And before we hop into that, guys, spooky savings, make sure to check it out here. These gift cards are up for grabs right now with any order on the website, and you can see each of the tiers here. I definitely push you to go towards that $4 to $7.50 tier, guys. That is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But before we talk about the first reel, I have to talk about this as well. It is not all on the reel when it comes to casting performance into the wind. It has a lot to do with your rod choice, and it also has a lot to do with your lure aerodynamics. And what I mean by that is this: if you're trying to throw a very stiff rod, now this rod is a little kind of on the moderate side, but if you're trying to throw a heavy, fast, extremely fast rod, you're going to have more difficulty throwing into the wind than if you have a more limber rod, let's say a more medium power, a slower action that actually loads up and allows you to store potential energy into that rod and allow you to throw that lighter lure, whatever it may be. So not only is the performance hindered by the reel, it can also be hindered by the rod of choice. Now, of course, lure of choice has a lot to do with the mid-flight performance, and this is where those stronger braking systems and adaptive braking systems can outplay a lot of the standard magnetic brake or centrifugal brakes. So we're going to talk about some of the technology in each of these reels here. I have 3 different brands in front of me, and of course, if you are picking out a bait caster, I highly encourage you to check out lakeprotackle.com. Each of these reels here is going to be linked down in the description, so make sure to hit up the spooky savings before time is up on November 2nd and check them out. So let us talk about one of my favorite reels from Lew's of all time. Utilizing the new ITB braking system, this guy right here. This is the Lew's Custom Pro Generation 3, denoted by its very gold coloring. This guy right here uses a new style braking system, not even found in like Hypermag or Pro TI yet, but this guy right here does a great job of meshing what I like to refer to as the rotor cup. This guy right here, it is a centrifugal rotor, and the faster this spins, the closer it gets to the magnets, and as it slows down, you're going to have that pull away, and the braking is going to slow down and allow you to get maximum casting distance out of your casts. So this uses the Paramag ITB again, and there are magnets really stacked up horizontally inside the side plate. And again, as that rotor cup gets closer, it's going to have more pull and slow down your lure a lot faster. We did so many tests with this reel on the casting pond, and let me tell you guys, it has performed beautifully with straight into the wind, with the wind, crosswind, even lighter lures like little chatterbaits and little spinner baits that generally catch a lot of wind. We even tried out the jerk bait, and it casted phenomenally even with a heavier style rod. Now this reel right here is going to be kind of that nice middle of the road price point. Check it out right here. And one of the top contenders in terms of just overall technology, casting performance, as well as durability. So as you know, a lot of these Lew's reels use a lot of this graphite style body, which is great. It keeps the reels really light. I just always like bash them up against the deck and other reels. I get a lot of boat rash on them. and that would be really my only complaint about some of the luge reels. But I can't wait to see the Paramag ITB braking system in something like the Pro TI or something of that nature that uses a titanium body. And yeah, super cool stuff from Luz. Also has the speed knot, so very easy to adjust, you know, on the fly. If you need to change out line, just tie a little knot, slip it in there, nice and easy. ITB braking system, Paramag ITB braking system from Luz, one of the top performers. Now, moving on to another Luz here, this is going to be the brand new KVD Elite Reel. This uses a very similar braking system, however, this one here uses an RX system. So this is Paramag RX. This rotor cup is not moving. This one is actually built onto the spool. So instead of a kind of dual braking, this one has just the regular Paramag system on here. But let me tell you, it is still very, very good at what it does. You're going to have a side dial here from free all the way up to 10, basically 11 settings on it. And just like the Custom Pro, this one is going to be just easy casting. You don't get all the technology like the speed knot on the spool. It's going to be a little bit heavier. It's also going to be cheaper, which is a good thing. So for those of you looking for a great starting reel, this one is sub $200. Performs beautifully with line anywhere from, I'm going to say, like 10 all the way up to 18. That's kind of the comfortable range for this one. It's about 100 size reel, nice low profile, really, really cool stuff from Luz. The brand new KVD Elite casting reel, again, using Paramag RX. So a little bit lesser in terms of the overall technology built into it, but also an extremely good performer. Of course, Kevin wouldn't want to put his name behind something that does not work very well. And even in the past, the old KVD ones have been really, really good. Now moving into probably one of my favorite all-time reels so far, and this one had to grow on me a little bit. I initially wasn't a humongous fan of the Shimano Metanium DC. However, utilizing the brand new braking system, the brand new IDC5 braking system, I have grown to really, really enjoy it. I love the core solid body. This thing does not move an inch. When you set the hook on a jig, when you set the hook on Texas rig, anything that has a lot of pull that can twist the whole body around, this thing does not move. It is extremely, extremely solid. And of course, having the IDC5 braking system, it is much more advanced than your SLX as well as your Corrado braking systems, reading the spool a whole lot faster and at a faster rate. So one of the cool examples I can give you, and I've probably said this before on the channel at some point, but one of my first really cool interactions casting this reel was casting into a headwind with braided line. And as you know, braided line really catches a lot of wind because it's more fibrous, it's less dense than fluorocarbon or monofilament. In the braid, it was, I think, like 30 or 40 pound braid, so it really catches the wind with a bigger profile. I was casting into the wind, and I was throwing like a half-ounce chatterbait, something like that. And I see this chatterbait fly, it goes up, and I see this spool, I see it, I can visually hear it in the braking system. That line slows the bait down, or the bait slows down, that line hangs for a second, and then goes and finishes the cast. That braking system is so advanced in here that it reads it extremely, extremely well. Now, another thing on this is going to be the actual brake settings. You have a lot more settings. Instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4, you now have individual line settings, and you have braking settings here. So you are able to get a lot more variability and castability out of this one depending on your lure size. And this one does throw all the way down to like a 3/16 or like an 1/8 ounce extremely, extremely well depending on the lure. I absolutely love setting this guy on the fluorocarbon setting, mid-braking, and just absolutely bombing lures. And if you want some extra casting distance, go to the braid setting, which is the P for PE. and bump that brake all the way almost up to the max, and you can absolutely bomb crankbaits, jerkbaits. Now, this isn't my favorite jerkbait reel. It's a little bit heavier, but that's what you get with the DC system. A little bit of weight, but core solid body, ultra small profile, one of my absolute favorites. Moving into the Daiwa category here, this one came out 2 years ago. This is the Daiwa Tatula SVTW, and this guy right here has been an absolute staple for me ever since I started using it last December, using it for a Bling 55, which is a 1/4 ounce crankbait, flat-sided mind you, getting some absolutely insane casting distance. Now, this reel in and of itself, it's a little bit taller profile, a little bit longer profile than the reel we're gonna talk about next, but for a 100 size reel, bombing some of the lighter line, especially anywhere from like 8 all the way up to around 16, this is one of my all-time favorites at a good budget entry-level price point, mid-entry level price point. If you want a reel that can do almost everything, this is the one to do it on. Comes stock with a good handle, good knobs. I absolutely love the texturing and sizing of the knobs. And overall, the T-wing system makes everything very seamless. You don't get the line fatigue from going back and forth as much, and you're also getting just an incredible, easy zero adjust and really easy braking system on the side. Now the SV, the super versatile spool, I would open it up here if I had. Let's see, I might have one. This might work. I've got a hook here. I'm gonna try to spin this off. Well, anyway, let me just tell you, the spool is very similar to, well, the ITB spool, very similar to the Daiwa, where it has that rotor cup, and it really slows the bait down, especially at high speeds, getting it to stabilize, and then ending the cast, dropping out some of that extra braking. And really the only issues that I've had with the Tatula SVTW is at the very, very, very end of the cast, where that braking system really stops, and it can allow that spool to keep going if you don't have your tension knob set accordingly. That is the only issue I have found. Now, this reel right here is in the bottom of Lake Louisville currently. I lost this one about 1.5 years ago, and I was extremely, extremely sad about it. So very similar to the Tatula, new Tatula SVTW. This is Zillion SVTW, so one bump up, uses the SV and TW system. Very similar exactly, basically, to the Tatula, just has some more bells and whistles. This one here is also gonna have the SV Boost G1 Duraluminum spool, so it's gonna be a lighter spool, better for casting really, really light lures. And here's that same style rotor cup. It is going to move up and down off the spool, going in line with your magnetic brakes here. So really, really neat stuff. This one also, because it is that SV Boost and because it is a Daiwa, the spool shaft doesn't extend all the way into the reel, minimizing a lot of weight and increasing a lot of the casting performance. The Zillion overall has very similar handles, very similar knobs, little bit taller profile if you look at it from the side here compared to the Tatula. Very similar reels overall. Performance-wise, this one is probably one of the best performing reels casting into the wind and overall casting just out on the pond or on the lake. I mean, you can bomb, almost spool this with 16-pound line. It's still gonna be about a 100 size reel. Has a clicking drag as well. Zero adjust on here, you don't have to touch that much, and then easy brake settings on the side. I like to set mine from anywhere like 7 all the way up to 12, depending on the wind that I am fishing. Now, when it comes going back to these loos here, you're gonna have to play with the tension, you're gonna have to play with the actual brake magnetic setting on the side. The Metanium DC, pretty simple. You can minimize side-to-side play or make that lure drop super, super slow. Set up your braking on the side, choose your line type, and then choose the amount of braking you wanna have on it. So really, really neat stuff. Of course, we have a whole lot more reels in the case here that still perform really, really well casting into the wind or crosswind, anything like that. Lots of rods here as well. If you need any help picking out a specific rod or reel, make sure to hit us up on YouTube. Email me. I've got that down below in the description. And just call in the store if you want. You know, we're here to help. Great customer service. Tim or I can easily help you out, find a rod or reel, any tackle that you're looking for, really. We have a humongous selection, guys, and take advantage of the spooky savings one more time here before it is too late. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the list, and if I missed one, let me know down in the comments below. Lots of neat stuff going on right now. Have some cool things coming out for y'all in the next couple weeks. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.